Hi, welcome back. My name is Chris Sikora, and I'm going to step you through AutoCAD 2021 solids working with an assembly. So basically, we're going to take a look at what you see there on the screen, which is a pencil sharpener. And as you can see here, it's shelled out. It has two different bodies. It has this clear backing. That's the reservoir for the pencil shavings, and then you have this area here. We're not going to go into the details of the blade or anything like that, but you're more than welcome to have a go with it. And so we're going to see some different techniques. We're going to use layers in this to allow us to make those two different parts separate like that. Although you don't need to use layers, it's a good idea. And we'll generate some curves and offsets and things. So let's begin. As far as where to find this information, you could use the SOLIDWORKS manual or the Creo manual right here at Britannia1.com. And it's on page 90. Now I know this isn't SOLIDWORKS, but I haven't made the manual yet for AutoCAD. So we're just using this drawing out of here right now. And until I have an AutoCAD training guide up there, this is one place you can find it. You can find the same one in the Creo book as well. All right, so you can see here's the front, and then there's the rear part as well. And we're going to see how to make that. So let us begin. Start a new AutoCAD 3D. Let's change it. I always like to start off with wireframe, and then I go to Home and click on Top. Now I'm going to start off with the rectangle tool, the corner rectangle, and let's turn on the snap for just a moment here. Get to the center, drag it to the upper right corner, and it's going to be 2, and hit Tab by 2, hit Enter, and now you could click the top there, and it should center it in the screen. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just extrude that. So actually, before we extrude it, we'll put the fillets in. There's some fillets that go on here, so I'm going to go with the fillet tool, and I'm going to set radius, and we're going to set this to 0.125. And proceed to select these corners here, hit Enter, select these two lines here, Enter, select these two here, Enter, and these two here. Now when we're hitting Enter, of course, it's just resetting it so we don't have to go to the icon every time. All right, now I'm going to just go to Extrude. I'm going to extrude the backside first. So I'm going to click on, just select the geometry like that. I'm going to go to the Home button so we can see this. Let's click on that again, hit Enter. All right, we're going to drag that down. We could turn off the grid temporarily there, and this is going to be 1.5 inches. And you could click on the Home button again to center it. All right, next what we're going to do is we're going to put some fillets in at the bottom. So let's go to the solid fillet. We're going to put a nice rounds on that bottom so that it doesn't hurt the hand as it's held. All right, and now we're going to go with a loop. And I'm going to go ahead and we'll do chain. Select this edge here. And we actually want it to be the radius of 0.5. And hit Enter. Now you might notice in previous videos I wasn't aware of the loop option. I noticed it, I just had never really used it much. So there we go. All right. Now we could go back to Home, the Home tab, and let's just change this to shaded gray. All right, and unfortunately I must have neglected to hit Enter, and that's the problem sometimes when you don't see this. I'm going to hit Enter again. Actually, let's just go back to fillet, solid, fillet, loop, chain, and we'll put in 0.5, Enter, select the bottom edge, let's get that in there again, 0.5, Enter, Enter, and enter. Forgot to hit enter the second time. So that's a good example. I leave those errors in because they're very common amongst us to make those. Most likely I've learned over the years of teaching that you might make the very same mistake I do. So it's good not to edit it. A lot of my videos, I rarely edit my videos. Mistakes and all are in there. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to start some layers, and we're going to put this on a different layer. So I'm going to go back home here, go to layer properties, and hit new. That's that little star there. And under layer here, the first one, we're going to go ahead and call this rear, because that's what we're making right now. And then we could go to color, and let's make that like a pale blue. All right, you're not going to see it on here because we're in the shades of gray mode, so it removes the colors, but later on we'll see it. All right, now let's go to new again, and we'll make a front. And then for that, click on this, and you can make it any color you like, really. You notice I had red. I'm just going to drag this down. Let's go with red again. All right, and I'm going to make another one, and I'm going to call this curves. So any curves I could just drop on that layer. And then for that, I will just leave it like a blue of some sort. Okay, so now we could just close that up and click on, hit escape, click on the model, and then let's just go up here and drop it on the rear. And enter. Okay. Now if you want to verify that, we could always click once on here, and you'll see by layer, and you can see the color is that light blue, and the layer is set to rear. Now we're going to make the other part here. So let's go ahead. We're going to steal those edges again. And so for that, we go to solid, we go to extract edges, and make sure on your filter you set it to faces, because we just want to steal this one face here. Select this face, hit enter, and it extracted the edges for that. We could hit escape. And let's go to home here, and we're going to hide our rear part. So click on this little light bulb here. And so that's on a different layer. We just hit it. Okay, and now we could actually put these curves on, but once we extrude it, it doesn't matter. Okay, we're going to, we could use press pull. And as you might see here, we're having, let's go to the filter. Oh, it is set to no filter. Let's see if we could just select the whole thing as a group. And press pull. There we go. Click and drag that up. And we want this to go, well, let's look at the training guide really quick here. So it's going to be, let's see, we're making the front cover. So it's going to be 1 inch thick. Type in 1, hit enter, and there we are. Now let's go to the line tool here, and we're going to draw from this corner here diagonally across. Now look at, I'm going from opposite corners. I'm going to go to this corner of that fillet and then hit escape. So can you see it's from that corner to this corner. Now the reason I did this is so we could center the post that goes on there. So let's go, we're going to go to center diameter, and we are able to find the midpoint. Now if you're not able to find these, remember there's the snaps, and you could set center and midpoint. You might have to set midpoint up if it's not turned on. So those are some of the things I have set there. Okay, so let's go back to, we just want to make sure I got center diameter there. Go to that midpoint, click, and drag this out. And this first diameter is going to be 1.25. Now, I notice when I hit enter here, something strange happens as far as the diameter So I'm going to select it again in hopes that I don't get that same effect, because we want to put the hole in now. So let's go to that midpoint again, center, diameter, and this one is 0.5. Strange when I hit enter like I normally do to repeat the last instruction set, and it makes it like twice that size. So it does something a little strange there, almost like unexpectedly doubled it. Not sure why. Anyhow, so now I'm going to go and we could actually do the push-pull or press-pull. Now, if we want to select these two items here, we could delete that center line, but we could leave it there too. Watch this. As we hold, oops, let's go back there. As you hold the Shift command first, hold Shift and then click on this one, and then while you're holding Shift, select this one too, and so you can select multiple areas. Now hit Enter, and you should be able to drag it up. Now there's a line, a cross-sectional line in there. Don't worry, that's going to disappear in just a moment. And the height of this is going to be 0.5. So 0.5, hit Enter. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and put in some other features here. Let's go ahead and put the fillets in, so the rounds or fillets. Let's go to Solid, go to Fillet Edge, go to Loop, Chain, Radius, and the first one we want is 0.25. Oh, we really don't, actually let's put the 0.25 in last. We don't need the chain on that one. So let's put 0.1 for this. Hit Enter, and I'll select this edge here, and it should go all the way around. Select this edge here, as well as this edge here. Hit Enter and Enter the second time. Now if we hit Enter a third time, we could go back. Loop, Chain Radius, and this time 0.25. And we didn't really need to do the chain radius for this one, just as an FYI, because it's one single edge right there. Hit Enter and Enter. And now click and then hit Escape. All right, so we've got that part done. Almost done. We have to shell these out though. Now we could actually drop this on the other layer, and that's not a bad idea. So let's go back home, click on the part, and this is going to be on the front layer. All right. Now another way you could check this, just hit Enter and hit Escape actually, is if you go to Conceptual or Realistic. You can see the colors that appear. Whatever you prefer. I still like using shades of gray. Zoom out there. All right, so we have a separate model here. Now another thing we want to do, let's rotate this around. Now we're going to want to shell this in just a moment, but before we do that, we want to create an offset because we're going to have a little lip that goes around. So it's going to be 0.1 thick overall, and then there's a little lip that's inside so that it could close enclosure at 0.05. So let's go to Solid, go to Offset Edge, select this face, and we're going to go ahead and select Distance, and we're going to set it to, oh, it's already set to 0.05. Make sure you set 0.05 in yours. Enter and click, and you should have a little offset edge in there. Okay, now hit Escape. We used the offset tool before in exercise 3, so if you ever need to go back and see how that's done, you can do it here or there. All right, now we're going to go ahead and shell this. So let's go to the shell command, and the overall shell, I'm going to select the solid, select that back face that we want to remove, and put in, oh, actually just hit Enter, and now you could type in 0.1, Enter, and just hit Exit, and Exit. All right, now you could see our plan of attack there. We wanted this offset edge. So what we can do now is we could just go to press pull, get inside there, and see when both highlight, click and drag that out, and 0.25. And so we've added that offset feature specifically so that the glass backing will snap on there. All right, now let's bring back that other model. Go to the home, and over here in the layers, click on rear. And we could actually hide the front. So click on the light bulb to hide it, just temporarily. And flip this around. Now we're going to go and go back to solid, go to shell, and let's go ahead and select this and select that face. Oops. Let's try that again. Shell. Okay, here, let's hit escape. All right, let me try that one more time. Let's just go right to shell. Select the solid. Select that face. There we go. Okay, that's what we wanted to see. Remember, the faces that are deselect, or that technically it's showing you the faces that are gray. Those are the ones that are selected. That's when you want opened up or to be removed. And hit enter again. And this is only going to be 0.05. Now, remember when you're designing plastic parts or steel for sure, you have to make an additional offset. So it might be actually 0.045 or something like that. You need a little bit of clearance. Plastic, sometimes you could get away with that because they're flexible, but steel, aluminum, no. You always have to put what they call clearance or tolerance between the two. But this isn't a class about that. This is just about AutoCAD. So we're just putting in 0.05 to make it line to line. But just remember, in real world, you don't usually do line to line. Hit enter and hit exit. And exit here. All right, let's go back home. Let's go to the layer properties and let's hide the rear. And I want to drop all these onto that other layer. So I'm going to go ahead and click here and drag a fence around all the curves. Because now some people just delete them. You don't really need to keep them. I like to keep them just because I might want to use them again for something. And they don't take up a whole lot of space if they're this simple. All right, so I'm going to, I have those selected. I'm going to go to the layers and I'm going to select the curve layer to drop those on. I can hit escape. And I could hide that curve layer. And we could show the front and rear. And now let's go over here to realistic. Now, if you want to give this a realistic appearance, so it's transparent, there are some options. What you could do sometimes, once you've applied something, you could right-click and go to the properties. And you'll see here by layer, right now I don't have an option, but let's give it some options there. So with that, go to Visualize, and we're looking for Materials Browser. Now, what you can do is you could find a particular material, like we're looking for glass. You could also type in a search and it will bring up the glass, but hit the little plus symbol next to glass. Actually, just click on it, and you'll see there's different types of colors of glass and such. Now, here is a clear, and make sure sometimes you have to read what it says and wait. So I'm going to go with that one. I'm just going to click on this little Add Material. Now, you can add it to individual faces by clicking on it and then holding the Control key. Let's try that again. And drag it over. Forget if you have to hold Control first and then click. Yeah, hold Control down, then click. And watch this. You could release the mouse button. I'm just holding the left mouse button, and it just applied that material there. I'm going to hit Control Z, which is undo, because I don't want that. But let's do this. I want you to right-click on that clear glass and select Objects Applied To, and select this bottom part. Now over here, remember we had that by layer, you can see clear, And now let's close that. And again, the way you get to that one, just hit escape, was by clicking on the model, right-clicking, and going to properties. That brings that up. Now there's several ways to do this. I found several ways. This is just one way. It probably, I'll be quite honest, it probably isn't even the best. Like I said in my previous videos, I learned this back in 1986. I used it on and off since then, but there are so many ways that have been added since then, or even beyond what I've learned. So if you do have any suggestions like that, please put them down in the boxes below, the comments below. All right, now you can see that we have successfully made this. Oh, you know what? I forgot to punch through the hole, which isn't a problem. To do that, I'm going to go ahead and go to Home, and I'm going to go to Press Pull. I forgot to punch this through. So I click on that face, drag it down. Now here's the tricky thing. We don't want it to go too... Click, let escape, and that should have punched it through. Okay, so we have it. All right, so the hole is added, and that concludes exercise 5.